What's up guys, it's BrickEffect and you're watching Pinnacle Gaming, and today we're going to be taking something that looks like this and modeling it into something that looks like this. In this video, I'm going to use 3 different pieces of software. Blender in order to create my 3D object and corresponding UV map for my accessory, Photoshop in order to create my texture, and lastly, but surely not least, Roblox Studio in order to put it all together. Alright, so first what we're going to do is we're going to be removing this default cube and placing in our default dummy. So that way there we can keep things looking up to size. So we're going to go ahead and start off by actually getting that first base shape. And I think for something like a bucket hat, unlike a cube or something natural, I'm going to go ahead and go with a sphere. If you're actually worried about poly count or anything like that, if you actually watch what I'm doing here, you actually see that I'm lowering the segments and the rings in order to kind of create less polygons to actually be rendered in our final item. Alright, so now that we have everything figured out as far as the base shape goes, we're going to take our basic shape over to the editing mode. Here we're going to put our focus on actually cutting away half of the shape. By entering wireframe mode, I was able to select half of the faces on the sphere and remove them by pressing X. Alright, so we are definitely on a roll here. So what we're going to be doing now is actually kind of stretching out and creating that brim, I guess, if that makes sense. This kind of reminds me of like a conquistador type vibe. I gotta make this a little bit more edgier. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up so that way there you guys can kind of, you know, not have to watch me do this the whole time. All right, are you guys still there? All right, cool. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to actually be inserting a cylinder so that way there we can actually create a halo effect. I felt like being good, bad, ugly all at the exact same time. So that's kind of what we're aiming for in this design. So I'm using a lot of insetting, a lot of, you know, cool techniques here to kind of get this job done. I'm sorry, I really suck at working and also describing what I'm doing at the same time. So my apologies. However, I guess I'll take the time to kind of share with you guys what actually am I doing with these UGC items. You actually can buy these UGC items, including this hat that I'm making right now, all of which basically can be purchased on the Roblox platform via our group, Good Game Studios by Pinnacle. These are pretty much the creators and the inventors of PEMDAS Math Rush. And for those of you guys who don't know what PEMDAS Math Rush is, I'll be taking some time a little bit later on in the video to explain. Alright, so let's get back to the design at hand. So now that I kind of took some time to make some halos for the good effect of my whole entire design, I wanted to add some horns in to kind of add a little bit of representation for the bad in good, bad, and ugly. I believe the collaboration with the whole halo and the whole horn will kind of, you know, give me enough on the whole ugly. Plus I think, like, you know, historically, like, bucket hats are kind of known to be a little ugly. So now we're gonna basically take some time to kind of add a little bit of extra lines so that way there we can kind of get some cool seam and a little bit of a rim around our hat. Alright, I think I'm pretty much satisfied with what we got so far. So we're going to go ahead and take this over to the UV mapping area. So that way there we can pretty much create textures for this. So for those of you guys who don't know what UV mapping is, basically what I'm doing is I'm basically creating a 2D map out for how colors should be represented on this 3D object. I hope I explained that the best. I hope like 3D model connoisseurs don't come attacking me, but yeah, basically I'm just trying my best to get as many of the shapes as panned out as possible. I know that there's actually a much more in-depth way of actually creating technique, but this is kind of something that I decided to do to kind of give me a streamlined way to kind of see what colors will actually look like. Alright, so the last thing that I want to do is kind of play around with the normal so I can kind of make that patch glow. I don't know why, I think the kids love it, so yeah. Alright, so next on my list, and probably one of the most important on my list, is basically designing and creating the texture. There's many different softwares that you can actually go out of your way to kind of go find. Mine personally is Photoshop, just because I've used it since I was 8 years old. My dad taught me how to use Photoshop, and ever since then has started my awesome journey as a graphics designer. But yeah, pretty much you're gonna go ahead and use this to pretty much create, you know, what you want the coloring of it all to look like. Alright, so what we're gonna do now is go over to Roblox Studio and take everything that we pretty much just designed and insert it. So first we're gonna take a mesh part and actually turn that mesh part into our object that we just created in Blender. I might actually make a little bit of a tutorial for how that's actually done a little bit later, but for most of you guys who've already been building and, you know, using mesh parts, I'm pretty sure that was something I didn't really need to include per se. Right, moving on. So what we're going to be doing is actually placing our item onto our character. So first what you want to do is you want to fit it. You want to kind of make sure you have it in a nice area. You're going to go over to your plugin, I believe. It's a assets creator plugin, and you're basically just going to create an accessory. Yeah, and there you have it. The good, bad, and ugly bucket hat. This will definitely be available on the Good Game Studios group by Pinnacle. But yeah, I know I definitely made promises to talk about PEMDAS. I won't talk too much about it, but basically the idea is you answer simple math questions in order to advance through stages. You rebirth at stage 60 in order to get a higher yield of rewards. The overall idea for us later on is to actually offer free UGC items in select stages in hopes to also give everyone a free opportunity in order to get free UGC items, because I know like right now like free UGC items is like a really big thing, and I know like people have been talking about bots and things like that, and hopefully through what we're doing here with PEMDAS and with Good Game Studios and with Pinnacle, we'll be able to give people a fair opportunity to exercise their skills and get some free UGC items. Oh my god, I feel like I've been ranting for a while. Anyways guys, it's BrickEffect here. You're watching Pinnacle Gaming, and I'll see you guys next time.